The Tonse Alliance would like to take the opportunity of the recent fact-finding mission to Zambia on freedom of expression by the United Nations Special Rapporteur, Ms. Irene Khan, from 20th of January 2025 to 31st of January 2025 to sound a timely warning to President Hakainde Hichilema and his UPND administration that if they do not cease and desist from further violations of human rights of the Zambian people, the next international human rights investigation that they may face may be from the International Criminal Court prosecutors in The Hague. President Hakainde Hichilema and his UPND administration should take the Special Rapporteur's recent visit as a wake-up call. The world is now one big village where evidence of human rights violations is easily shared at the click of a button. President Hakainde Hichilema and his administration have notably invested heavily in propaganda by engaging huge numbers of unemployed youth as online warriors to influence online conversations, as well as intimidating or buying out the majority of media houses to peddle the UPND narrative on various matters. However, the recent decision by the United Nations to send a special rapporteur to investigate the Zambian government on human rights violations is testimony enough that the heavily funded UPND propaganda machinery is not as effective as President Hakainde Hichilema and his government may think. The Tonse Alliance would further like to take this opportunity to sound a timely warning to individual hooligans within the UPND party, as well as purveyors of selective justice within the Zambia Police Service, who aid and abet these UPND hooligans, that if they do not change their ways soon, they may find themselves sitting in a solitary detention cell at the International Criminal Court in The Hague, where they shall have ample time to reflect and look at the wrongs that they did and perpetuated against the majority of the Zambian people, all because of a difference in political ideology and affiliation. The Tonse Alliance would like to remind President Hakainde Hichilema and his UPND administration that whereas he may succeed to intimidate, gag, and bribe the majority of voices of the Zambian people, it is literally impossible to intimidate, gag, or bribe the voices of the international community. Therefore, the President should be rest assured that every incident of selective justice, every incident of weaponization of the police and judiciary, every incident of state-sponsored terrorism against citizens with dissenting opinions, every incident of police abductions, every incident of extrajudicial killing of innocent citizens is well documented. And the recent visit by the UN Special Rapporteur is testimony to the fact that the international community will take appropriate action at the right time. As Tonse Alliance, we further wish to advise President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND administration that the recent visit by the UN Special Rapporteur is merely a small snippet of possible interdictions by the international community that await the President and his administration should they decide not to change their ways. Lastly, the Tonse Alliance would like to put it on record that it is the first time in the 61 years of our existence as a republic that an international body such as the United Nations have visited Zambia for the purpose of investigating human rights violations by the government against its own people. President Hakainde Hichilema and his UPND administration should introspect and wonder why there were no human rights violation investigations by an international body in the 27 years of UNIP rule, or the 20 years of MMD rule, or the 10 years of PF rule. But there is a United Nations human rights violation investigation within 3 years of UPND rule. Indeed, the verdict against President Hakainde Hichilema and his UPND administration is undeniable. The only question that now remains is whether the president and his UPND administration will only be on record as having triggered a UN human rights violation investigation, or they shall also claim the record of being the first administration in the history of Zambia to be prosecuted at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Evidently, the question can only be answered by President Hakainde Hichilema and his UPND administration, depending on how they decide to relate with the Zambian people going forward. Thank you.